Dave here with Half Dozen Customs. We're back out here on the Jeep this morning. Actually got an early start out here today. So just catch you guys up a little bit. We did get this side all done. I think in the last video I did show you guys this all done. But I did end up redoing this lower corner piece again for a third time. Reason being is because this level line here, when I got to my patch on my second patch that I did, first patch I did, I was super happy with it. I think it came out damn near perfect, but if you remember, the width down here was extended out too far. So I had to cut this out. We had to kind of squeeze the fender in a little bit on the bottom, and I had to put a new patch in. And the second patch that I did, it went from straight and then it went uphill a little bit into the curve. And I didn't notice it right away. My buddy that owns this truck actually came over and he ran his hands underneath here, and I was kind of, thinking in the back of my head, like, what is he looking at? And after he left, I stood back and kind of took a look to see what it was that he was looking at. And I noticed that it was going uphill a little bit. It wasn't much, but it was noticeable. And once I noticed it, I couldn't unsee it. So I had actually sat on it for about a day and thought about it, and showed it to the wife. I held a straight edge up underneath here, and you can see that it from where my weld starts to where the curve starts, it was about an 1/8 inch difference. So it was quite noticeable once I seen it. I could have just fixed it in the Bondo stage, but an 1/8 inch to me is a little too thick, especially for a lip. So I just went back and I cut that back out, and we made a new patch for it, and I put it back in. So and what I think I did with the second patch, which is this guy here, when I made this patch, I pretty much just copied this one. It was just, I think I had it just a little too far forward, which gave this level part kind of an uphill climb. So when I remade this patch, and we kind of just set it back a little farther instead of so far up into that curve, and that straightened everything out. So simple fix, simple mistake, shit happens, but it's all taken care of now. We got that all done and welded in. Everything's good. I've been working on the tailgate now. So that's where we're at today, is on the tailgate. I have gone in and I've just I've welded a couple of plates in here with the tailgate shut. Shut where I'm happy with, it being nice and straight with the edge of the bed. And now we gotta put the, I guess you would call it like a pin latch. It's what was in there originally. They have a tab mounted on the inside of the tailgate. You'll get to see it. That has a hole in it. And then they have a piece that was mounted to the side of the bed. They actually had it screwed to the side of the bed. They had a piece of pipe on it, and you could drop a pin in it, and that's what kept the tailgate latched. So the way that they did it on the original Jeeps back in the day was that it was just 2 tabs off the back on the outside of the tailgate. that had a chain with a hook on it, and you drop the hook into the 2 holes, and it kept your tailgate closed. And then when you open the tailgate, that chain also second as like the tailgate holder upper, I guess. You know, it kept it from dropping all the way down. You just used the chains as a strap that held the tailgate open, you know, so you could open it and put your stuff in or sit on it, whatever you wanted to do. So so everything was just kind of moved to the inside, and they didn't have any chains or anything like that. So we still got to figure that part out. But what I'm working on, I started working on it last night off of camera, was this stuff here. So these are what they originally had on the truck. You can see there's a couple holes in them, and they had them screwed to the side of the truck. I drilled these holes out a little bit bigger, and we're actually going to weld it. I cleaned these up and kind of rounded off the edges. They kind of had them rounded before, but I just cleaned them up and made them look nice and new. And then we made the holes bigger. I painted the inside that's going to go up against the bedside. I also painted the inside of the bedside so that it's protected in between these 2 pieces of metal, like I always do. And then they had, this was the original piece of pipe that they had, that once it was screwed to the inside of the truck, then they took this pipe and they welded this pipe to this tab. So you couldn't even get the screws out if you wanted to. I had to cut this piece off. You can see where I cut it, just to get to the screws. So this pipe's all beat up and yucky. So I made some new ones. Nice new pipe. Everything's cut perfectly straight. And I made it the exact same length as this bracket. You can see that they're quite a bit longer than the other piece. And the reason that I did that is because I think it looks better if everything matches, if it's all the same length. You know, they had this little short piece on there, and you know, to me it was, you know, the bracket stuck out a 1/2 inch longer than the pipe did. Just didn't look right, if you ask me. So so what we're gonna do today is, now that I got the tailgate welded shut, we're gonna go in and we're gonna try and calculate and figure out where these need to sit for you to be able to drop a pin in, and we're gonna get these welded in. So before they just had it was just a piece of round bar that was bent, and they had it dropped in there, and they actually had a second one that was really long, and it was bent in a hook on either side, and that's what they were using to like hang the tailgate up when it was open, which I just think is wrong on so many levels. So what I have is I have this, this is actually a piece of solid aluminum, and we're gonna bend it into a nice clean looking hook, and then we're gonna drill a hole. I'll cut them, you know, so long. We'll bend the top so that it's a nice little hook. We'll round off the edges. We'll polish it so that it looks like it's, you know, billet, polish billet, chrome, whatever you want to say. And then I'll drill a hole in the bottom that you can put, I don't know, I don't know what they call the clips, but like an RC car body clip, just a bigger version of it, and then you'll be able to clip the bottom of that pin so that it can't come out, because that was one of the things that they didn't have anything that kept the pin in there. You know, you hit a good bump and the pin could shoot out and your tailgate slams down. So you know, I'm gonna drill a little hole so we can put a clip in there. So And then once I get this all situated, I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use a modern strap off of like a modern pickup truck tailgate, where it's just the black coated cable that has a bolt and a bolt, and it swivels on those bolts. So when you open the tailgate, that cable gets tight and holds the tailgate up. So we'll have to figure that out. I'm just gonna go take them off one of my trucks out here for a mock-up, and then once I get them all mocked up, we'll order some new ones. But yeah, so that's a little, you know, it's probably a couple days down the road. I don't know, maybe today, we'll see how far I get. We gotta get these in first. So that is my next thing, is to figure out exactly where these need to sit, get them marked out. We'll clean a little bit of the paint off that I put on last night so that we can get a good weld to bare metal. Yeah, so let's get to it. Let's see if we can get these in. It'd be cool to be able to shot and pin the bed again. It's been a while since we've been able to do that. So let me see if I can find somewhere to put you guys. Where I'm not gonna lose you. Let me get myself situated, and then I can get you guys situated. Boy. Oh. Boy. So much easier with this bed floor missing. We're gonna get everything done in here that I can get done before we put this floor back in. So here's kind of, this is what they had set up, and you can see that there's just a hole in there. And you know, I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel here. We're just gonna kind of use what they had previously here. My buddy that owns the truck agrees. He said that was fine. He had no problem with the way that it was set up before. And I did not grab a scratchy tool. They're just gonna be staring at my back there, huh? Okay. Just trying to think, like, have to go back and look at some pictures to see how it was that they had it set up, but were they using this piece as a backstop for it to stop the tailgate from going any further that it needed to. I think that's a great idea, but my only concern with that is we would have to put some kind of rubber gasket or foam or something on here so that we don't scratch the paint. Which is no problem. I have no problem doing that. I actually have a nice little piece of like door seal rubber gasket that we could put on here. But then it will kind of you know, it'll push this out a little bit farther. Let's just take a look and see if we can come up with something kind of nifty. So I have this stuff. It's just double-sized sticky tape. What I used this for was actually used for it was a replacement gasket for the inside of a quarter skirt. There was a skirt that goes on the quarter panel of a car, and there's a rubber gasket that goes on the inside of the skirt, so when you put the skirt on, it's not you know, touching like a paint to paint area. So that's what that is left over from. Easier to come in on this side. So, you know, maybe something like this will work nice. It'll keep the tailgate a little quieter. Won't be shaking around or moving around. Maybe. I like that idea, but the problem that I am seeing, it takes up too much room. I cannot get a pin in there now. So that means what I would have to do then is we would have to cut this tab off and we would have to make a new tab. Which is fine. Maybe I can make something a little nicer. I think I'm gonna have to brainstorm on this, because if I gotta remake something like that, then we may want to make something that incorporates the cable too. So that's all done in one shot. Alright. I'm gonna brainstorm, and I think I'm gonna go check out one of these cables on my truck and get it pulled off. And might as well, I mean, if we're going to be redoing this whole setup here, we might as well do it the best that we can and not have to keep going back and adding or redoing stuff. So I'll be back. High five. I kind of moved the bed around so that I'm not crammed in the corner over there. And I kind of did a little configuring after I shut the camera off earlier. I went outside, I pulled the cables off of my Ford out there, kind of got some measurements, kind of got some ideas of what we're going to do. I'm actually going to use the hardware from the Ford, and we ordered cables for a Ford Ranger. They are short enough. The ones for the Ford F-150 were just way too long. But the Ranger has short enough cable. We should be able to land about a quarter of the way down on the tailgate and a quarter of the way down on the bedside with where we're going to mount. And then it won't interfere with where we're going to put our little pin latch setup. But where I'm kind of at right now, so, you know, we put this little rubber gasket thing on here so that it's not metal to metal. I like this idea. My buddy that owns a truck, he likes that idea, so That's what we're gonna end up doing. But if you remember earlier when I kind of held it up there, the holes that were there originally from somebody else's creation no longer lined up because of this rubber gasket on here. They just had it metal to metal. It was all chipped up and rusting from it just slamming metal to metal all the time. So we're gonna solve that issue. So what I'm working on now, I got a new piece of angle iron here. They had a small piece of angle iron that was about 2 inches long. We're gonna do a larger, I think this is 1.25 inch angle iron. They had 3/4 before. So we went up a little bit. That'll give me enough room to drill a new hole in it so we can line our pins up. I'm only going to do 1 inch instead of 2 inches. We'll round up all the edges. We'll make it look as nice as we possibly can. You know, angle iron is not my most favorite thing to you know, use on vehicles, but it was something that somebody else had already used. We know it works. We're just kind of trying to make it a little nicer. So we're gonna go with what they had before and just pretty it up a little. And yeah, so the cables I ordered won't be here till Wednesday. So we got a week before they're here. So I'm gonna work on getting this pin setup done for now. We're gonna cap these holes up for now. And then, you know, I can work on stripping the rest of the bed or something like that until these cables get here. So, but let's get this cut. I'm gonna get the first one cut. We'll get it rounded up, cleaned up. See if we can't figure out where the hole is gonna land, get the hole drilled, make sure everything works how I want it to before we make a second one. No sense in making 2 of them and then realize that I screwed up. So hopefully there's enough life left in this blade. I scooted everything forward so we can try and get a little more life on. We got close. Hot, don't touch. We'll let that cool off for a minute before I go grind it and make it hot again. Be right back. Last night we were out here, we were kind of messing around with latch pin setup over here that somebody else made prior to me working on the vehicle. And I just kind of I don't know how you want to say it. I kind of just redid what they did, but I made it a little bit better. I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel, just trying to clean up what they did. I got that side mocked up. It looks good. I'm super happy with the way it came out. So we're gonna start working on this side and get this side cleaned up. I do see now that I have the tailgate open that I do need to make a small adjustment over there on that side, but not a big deal. Everything's just kind of wimpily tacked in place at the moment, just so I can see it. We did order The new cable system for this that's going to hold the tailgate when you open it, that should be here. It's supposed to be here on Monday. Today it's Friday night, like 10 o'clock. Hopefully in a couple days we'll have that cable set up. And then once I get that kind of mocked up and figured out, we'll start welding everything in solid. But right now I got to cut their old tab off. I don't know if you can kind of see it from the camera, but they have this short stubby that's wide tab. We made a little bit longer of a tab that is a little bit longer of a tab, but shorter. That's what I was going for, short. So, yeah, but we gotta get this tab off, so let's do that. So, had a visitor, took a little break there for a second. But right before I was grabbing tools and getting ready to work, I was talking to you guys and, kind of stumbling and kind of flustered with my words, and I've been having a really hard time doing this tailgate, trying to figure out how to make it as nice as possible, because it's not really the prettiest setup out there. And being that this is a homemade tailgate and it's an inch thick, rectangle tubing frame with a piece of sheet metal welded in, and the inside of it, there's nowhere to hide latches or cables or anything like that. Everything has to be on the outside. So, for me to order like a bear claw latch or anything like that, you'd have this huge box standing up, trying to keep everything clean and simple. It's kind of tough to do. I researched everything, and there's not many good options for these old trucks like this with tailgates like this. Either you're keeping it original, or somebody is doing a similar setup to this. And all the YouTube videos that I was able to find of anybody who's doing anything similar to this, like what I'm trying to do here, is better than I've seen on Facebook. So, or not Facebook, YouTube, my bad. So, I don't know, I'm just having a difficult time with this here. And once again, this tailgate is solid Bondo. Everything, unbelievable. So I cut around this, cut all the welds. Let's hope that this one comes off a little easier than the one last night. Last night I started banging on it, this board fell out, everything I had up here crashed to the floor. I ended up having to use air chisel and hammer and all this, and it did not come off pretty. So I tried to cut a little farther this time. Much better. Much better than last night. Where did my tape measure go? Ha! Found it. So last night I measured that guy out in an inch. We're going to do the same thing. Okay, again like last night, let's see if I can get this thing to cut partially through this at least. My blade's getting small. Every time I go to Harbor Freight, I forget. This thing is usually the furthest thing from my mind. I use it a lot, but it's not one of my everyday tools, so I forget a lot when I need to replace the blade. I used to have stacks of them, and I just used them all. I think 10 or 15 years ago, like I bought a pack of like 25 of them, and it lasted me till now. Again, close enough to break it off by hand. If I could move this thing a little farther forward, it would be better, but there's a stop underneath, and I guess I could cut that stop off, but it's there for safety purposes. So let's get this thing kind of cleaned up, ready to go here. Now I'm going to cut this one off so that we can match them. I'm gonna match them for now. I have a feeling, like you guys can see where that hole is drilled on this one. So I can probably take, an 1/8 inch, maybe a little more than an 1/8 inch off the top of that, round it out, make it a little cleaner and a little tighter. But for right now, like I said, I'm just kind of getting this mocked up until the cables get here. I gotta make sure when we put the cables in that everything is higher than the halfway point, so we don't have the thing, you overextend the cables and this thing just drops to the ground. That would be pointless of having the cables. So everything has to stay higher than the halfway point for the cables to work properly, and I can't have them interfering with any of this stuff. So this stuff may end up getting moved a little higher, that may come up a little bit more. It's just kind of tacked in place for now until we can get those cables and figure everything out. And we ended up making the decision to change these tabs because so I think it's in last night's video, I decided to put a piece of rubber. It's almost like rubber door seal. It's automotive. It was purchased for a car that I built last year that had skirts on it, and it went around the skirts and kept, paint from paint contact. I had some left over, and that's what I used. And they pushed it out just far enough to where the holes didn't line up no more. So I had switched to a different tab with a new hole drilled in it so that everything would line up again. And and that's what kind of waterfalled into this you know, let's cut these old tabs off, let's make new ones, let's make them smaller and more sleek and little more, you know, compact, and just, you know, it's always something. One thing water falls into the next, but always turns out into a better product at the end. So now, let's see. I really need to get another tripod for this guy. For this camera, he's got the little tripod that comes with it, but it's so hard to, I mean, I have a million different things I can set you guys up on over here, but, you know, if I set you up over there, then you can't see what I'm doing over here. If I set you up here, then you're going to be looking at my back, and, you know, I got this camera set up over here, and that one, you know, you're going to be staring at my back. Like, what I'm trying to say is sometimes it's hard to get proper camera placement. One thing I gotta say, when you're using this tool, make sure you're wearing gloves, man, because it takes fingertips off fast. Took off the tip of my glove there. This thing's a great little tool. It's inexpensive. It's off of Amazon. You know, I think it's, you know, right around a couple $100. But, you know, it's got a straight edge that's adjustable. You can adjust it, you know, by degrees. Keeps everything nice and square. I love it for, you know, when you're cleaning up the edge of a pipe. Like, you can set the pipe right up against this and straighten and get a perfectly straight edge on the pipe. Like, it's awesome for that kind of stuff. Sheet metal, it tears through really fast. But for the bigger, heavier, dutier stuff like this, to, you know, round up your edges and whatnot. Like, I mean, I took off quite a bit there rounding up these edges, and, you know, it didn't take me long. And they're nice and clean and straight. Where if I was to just use, you know, my hand grinder, which is how I've always done it in the past, you know, you never really get them perfect. You get them close, but this thing, you know, it's 98%. So the other 2% is all on you, you know. So, but yeah, very cool tool. I dig having it. If you haven't seen the video of me making that cabinet for it, go check it out. It's not, you know, it's not the best, but you know, cool little cabinet that I was able to make for free. So, you know, go check it out. I'm just going to copy this hole here. I think. Let me just double check that. Originally I just thought that I was going to copy that hole, but doesn't work like that. It's got to be on the opposite side. So what I did was kind of just, I used the other one for reference, lined it up with where I felt that it needed to go. So I got this little drill press vise from basically a garage sale, which it's awesome to have. I didn't have one before, and I just always, you know, held it in here with a pair of vice grips or whatever I could do to make it, you know, make it work, and stuff always got ripped out of my hands, and yeah, it was just, you know, it was dangerous. And so, you know, I picked this thing up from garage sale. They're about 25 bucks at Harbor Freight. And I had been looking for the one. I'd actually went up to Harbor Freight. I actually want the benchtop vise, drill press vise that is, I guess it's considered a milling vise. It has a crank on it over here and a crank on it over here, and you can clamp something in it, and you can move it basically in a 360-degree circle around the drill press. You know, back and forth, right and left, whatnot. So you can, you know, you can clamp your part in there, and then you just adjust these little dials and you get it centered underneath your drill. This one, you cannot do that. You know, you can see I have this block of steel in here, kind of, you know, bracing it up, and I try and, you know, get it centered best as I can. I mean, it's better, but it's not perfect. And but anyways, the milling one that Harbor Freight has, I guess they're like revamping it. They're making it better. So they no longer have the old ones in stock. The new one to come out. We have no set date for it to come out, and I'm interested to see what the new one is, because I thought the old one was pretty cool. But the thing that sucks with Harbor Freight, I don't know if anybody has noticed, but they seem to be revamping everything that they carry, such as like the English wheel. They've redesigned that. It's way stronger, way better than the last one that they had, and it's the same price as the last one, but the last one came with all the dies. This one doesn't, so you had to buy the dies. They don't even carry the dies anymore at Harbor Freight, so you had to, I had to, there's several places that have them, but I ordered them from Jegs, you know, and it ended up costing me twice as much. Still cheaper than buying the Jegs one, but it ended up costing me, you know, twice as much as what the, you know, the old one from Harbor Freight costs. And I have noticed that, like, everything that they are revamping, they're coming out with new ones. Like, you know, I bought that sandblasting cabinet from Harbor Freight. I think it was like 350 bucks. I ended up getting it on a closeout sale because they revamped them and came out with the new one. And the new one's like 1,200 bucks. So, and I've noticed that they're doing that with most everything in in their store, like any of the large items, the big items. They're kind of canceling out what they've carried for years, and they're bringing in still same company, same tool, but it's a little bit better of a tool, and it's, you know, 3 times as much. So kind of sucks. So I think we came out pretty close for just kind of eyeballing that. It looks like it might be, man, just like a 30-second off to one side compared to the other one. But we'll see once we get, let's see if we can get everything kind of tacked back in place and figure out I think I want to move that one. Like I said earlier, I didn't notice till I shut the tailgate. But this top of this pipe here is sticking out like an 1/8 inch higher than the bracket. And it wasn't, it's supposed to be level with that. So I need to drop that down and move that bracket up. So, what I'm gonna do here, let me move this other camera, I guess. Get you guys both in on the mix here. So I have it held in with the tack here, and then there's just 2 tacks on the back side holding this in. So what I'm gonna do is, real quick, I'm just gonna cut this tack. We're gonna drop the pipe down even with this top here, and we'll re-tack it in place, and then I'll go inside. I'll cut those 2 tacks. We'll move it up. It's only about 1/8 of an inch, so see if we can carefully work around you guys without knocking the camera over. Clean that edge up a little bit. I should have brought my grinder over with me. Now I gotta go get the grinder. One thing is for sure is I will be happy when this bed is done. Again, these are just temporary, but yeah. So I'm gonna have to find somewhere else to put you guys, because I have to. So this is where it would be nice to have another tripod for you guys that I could set up in here somewhere, because space is limited. So just in case I didn't video this last night, I know I didn't video a whole lot, but we did video some. Yesterday was kind of just a day of trying to figure stuff out. Now this that I'm putting on there is just for mock-up. You know, it'll get pulled off before it gets any paint or primer or anything of those sorts, and it'll get a new piece put on once it's painted. But this is a little pin, just a temporary pin for right now. I am going to make I'm gonna make a few more of them. These are aluminum. We're gonna polish them up. I'm gonna drill some holes in them. I ordered some more of these clip things like this that are stainless steel. So I was hoping to maybe get some blue ones, but I can't find any blue ones unless I get something for an RC car. But I don't know. But I'm gonna make quite a few of these just in case he loses them. We'll get them all polished up so they're nice and chrome. But this one was just kind of a temporary let's see if it'll work type thing, and it did work. So you know, I just whipped it up real quick. I don't know if you can see, but like when I bent this, I bent it just a little bit too much, so this needs to actually come up a little bit. So I don't know if I'll try. I don't think I'm gonna try and straighten this one. This one's just temporary, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut them at a certain length, and then we're gonna stick them in the drill press, and we're gonna round up the edges real nice and make them look all nice and pretty, and then we'll get them all wet sanded down real nice, you know, down to, you know, from like a 400 to a 600 to, you know, like a 1500. We'll put the bend in it, and then we'll hit it on the polisher, and we'll polish it up nice and pretty. So, but that will be a little later down the road when we're kind of reassembling Johnny 5. It'll be after paint and all that. So let's remember to grab my board. I keep forgetting, and get this thing tied up there. Keep forgetting to grab that board, and then I lift up on the tailgate and it freaking slams me in the knee. Well, poop. I gotta weld that back on. I think we're gonna have to cut this off, clean it up, move it where we need it, because it don't line up now. Figures. I guess. Just cut it off now while I'm in. Darn it. Oh, what are they? Where'd it go? Here it is. All right. Try and just make some subtle adjustments, and bam, next thing you know, everything's out of whack. Ah! Forgot about that board. Damn it. Steady. Do not fall in the head. Just welded my little tab shut on the outside so that I know the tailgate is where I want it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And then it has, it'll have this little clip that pops in on the bottom. It'll keep it from falling out. So they had something similar than this. You watch me just cut the one off. They had something that was out here with just a hole drilled over there. It was kind of pointless to be that long. It was all boogered on. It was nasty. And then they had pins like this, but they were like super long, so that when they had it in here, it dropped down to, around here. So if you did catch a bad bump, like it had like 8 inches or 10 inches that it had to go up before it could come out. So to me, that just looks horrible. So we just have a nice clean setup, small little pin that'll be polished, nice little clip that locks it in. And then on the other side, they actually had, come back. On the other side, or it was on this side and the pin was on the other side, whatever. But they had this, so it was bent and they had it hooked in there, so it hooked in, and then it was long and it had another hook at the bottom. It was 2 pieces of round bar welded together. You could tell it was somebody just made something super fast, but it was what they clipped into this top piece, and then they clipped into this pole when they would have the tailgate open. That was what held the tailgate open. So, you know, I think what we're doing is going to be much, much nicer. I guess I should have, I didn't even think about it, I should have welded this one on the other side while I had the tailgate open. Maybe be right back. I'll cut this tailgate open again. Don't. That other side on. See me like losing everything, forgetting to do this and do that. I'm having to, you know, crawl in and out everywhere, and man, it's just been, ever since I started this tailgate, it has just been, it's been non-stop like that. Like, this tailgate has me flustered. So what I did on the other side, there's, you know, like I said, this is rectangle tubing that makes this tailgate, and they did not cap the ends. I'm gonna cap them, but what I'm doing is I'm just lined in these tabs up with the inside edge of the opening over here. I'm just kind of using it as a reference point. I don't know that it's going to stay right there, hence why it's all just tacked in, but for right now it gives me a good reference point to go off of. Let's just make sure, like half an inch, about a half an inch. Except for, yeah, see, got me flustered. That ain't even right. How is that not right? Okay, so, again, tailgate's got me flustered. So when I lined this up to drill the hole, and I was like, nope, can't just mark it off of that one. It needs to be on the opposite side. So I just moved it over, kind of eyeballed the hole. I put it in the same dang spot as the other one. So I gotta remake this. That's no good. So I'm not gonna make you guys watch it again. I'm just gonna turn the cameras off. I'm gonna try and knock this out as fast as I can, and I'll be right back with the tab properly made. It's always something. I wanted to try and get this done tonight, just so that it's done and I can move on to the next thing, because damn tailgate's got me flustered. Bah! Okay, we're back. I got the new tab made. It took me like 15 minutes. So, it wasn't too bad. Stupid tailgate. I think it's all just because I really wish that I could do something a little nicer than this, but said, they don't really make anything good for this unless you're just going back to original, which I'm not a big fan of all the chains hanging everywhere. They just scratch paint. So and you know, we don't want to spend a bunch of money on something that's just gonna, you know, be big and bulky and tacky on here. That's just gonna look like crapola. So plus there's, you know, I think this truck kind of, you know, I don't want to say necessarily went over budget. But I think like a lot of the cool customizing stuff that I think, you know, my buddy was kind of hoping to do to this stuff has to kind of get put on hold at the moment because this thing needed way more metal work than what we actually thought originally, because it was hidden under 50 gallons of Bondo, and that's not an exaggeration. I bet there seriously was 50 gallons of Bondo on this thing. Come on, let go. Okay. I'm gonna move you guys over here for a second. I want to remember. I'm gonna tack this thing shut. And move that board before busting in the knee again. That board falling hit me in my knee. That thing ain't no joke. That's the header board that goes up across that holds my ceiling up now since I opened that wall up. And that's a true real header board. That's not just some 2x10. That's a real construction 2x10, I guess. I don't know. It's way thicker than just your normal one you get from Menards, and they're super expensive. It's like a press board all glued together. The thing is super heavy. Just for that little piece, it's super heavy. Ah, I forgot you guys out there. Damn it. Okay. Really where to put you guys that you guys ain't gonna be seeing my back. I ain't mark it, clean any of the metal off. Doubt. It would have been nice to mark it and get it all cleaned off before I close the tailgate shut. So basically, I just kind of eyeballed it the last time and scratched the black paint with the screwdriver here so that we had kind of clean metal to weld to there. Oh, what am I caught on? Let's try this again. Ha ha ha. Check my measurements here. Let's make sure everything looks somewhat square. Inch underneath. Spot, inch underneath. It's the same as what this size was. Close. Don't have to be perfect right this minute because they're just kind of tacked in place, but they're on, they're there. It does look you know, it's good enough for now. It's just mock-up. I think they need to I think they need to come down just a hair. This one's hidden when the tailgate shuts. And I need, you know, like I said, this is just temporary at the moment. But I need to make sure that I leave enough room in there for primer and paint and clear and all that stuff, and that, you know, when we shut the tailgate, it's not going to chip it right away. So I don't want to chip it at all, but where it's at right now, if I was to prime it and paint it and clear it as soon as you shut this tailgate, it would just rip all the paint off of it. So I have it a little too close, so which is no big deal. It's only held in by one tack. I could drop them down right now, but it's not a big deal. I do not think that these things are going to be welded in place right now where they sit, because I still got to make sure that all the cable stuff fits in here with that. You know, the wife came out here, and she was kind of checking out what I got going on. She was out here yesterday with me, and we were kind of measuring and going over this, that, and the other, and you know, or got those cables ordered and whatnot. So she kind of knew what I had going on out here, and she knew that I wouldn't say I was struggling, but I was struggling with it all. So she kind of came out here and just checked out everything that was going on and gave me, you know, her 2 cents. You know, second opinion doesn't hurt. So, but she came out here and she looked. I had showed her pictures last night after I got this one done, and she was kind of like, You know, that's not what I was thinking that you were doing. You know, but, you know, she sees that it looks way better than what it did. But she was out here earlier and actually like seen it in person instead of a picture. And she thinks from our measurements that we took yesterday that where these are right now are going to be right smack dab in the middle of where the cable is going to go. So she thinks that this whole mechanism thing here needs to be moved up as high as we can get it, which may be the case. I won't know until we get the cables in here. So and you know, if that's the case, if we got to move it, then you know, we'll reconfigure it. You know, I think I can maybe take a little bit off of each end of these tabs. For one, I want to take a little bit off this end, just so that it's a little cleaner and looks a little better. It's not sticking out so far. We can kind of shorten it up a little bit, but we can shorten up the other end too, and we can move this up. You know, I think we could probably scoot this whole thing up an inch if we wanted to, and still be within the right parameters of getting some good strength, some good welds in on everything, so that nothing, you know, breaks or pops or cracks paint later on down the road, from, you know, the tailgate being jarred around, you know, doing 150 miles an hour. You know, having all that torque of the high-powered motor in it, that, you know, stuff ain't moving around and jarring stuff. And so, you know, got to kind of keep that stuff in mind. Safety. You know, you don't want to be driving down the road and have the tailgate fly open. So, but, yeah, we'll figure that all out. Like I said, hopefully they should be here Monday. They were originally saying Wednesday, now it's saying Monday. We actually ordered them yesterday afternoon. They shipped this morning, so everything seems to be moving a little quicker than we were first told. So, yeah, so we'll see. I think now that I got these tacked up, I think maybe tomorrow I'm going to work on we're going to start stripping this tailgate down, getting all the old paint and Bondo and all that stuff off of it. You know, we got some sandblasting to do. It's a shame tomorrow's supposed to be so cold. You know, this past week would have been an awesome week, being 70 all week, to get this whole thing sandblasted, and I was kind of shooting for that. You know, if I would have been out here 12 hours a day every day, we would have definitely got that done. You know, getting it all stripped down and getting it sandblasted this past week when it was 70 out, but you know, they just don't work like that anymore. I work at my own pace. So but you know, I think we're gonna start working this weekend on getting this tailgate all cleaned up, get all the Bondo out of it, get it actually off the truck, get it outside, get it sandblasted. I do wanna do something with these corners here. So, you know, like I said, this is just some square stock tubing, or rectangle stock tubing that's been, you know, welded together, and then they put a piece of sheet metal inside the square, welded it in on the back side. It's really quite ugly, actually. But not a whole lot that I can do about it. I'm not rebuilding this tailgate. But what we're gonna do, if you remember, for the piece that I built on the inside, it has that nice curved box that goes in there with the 3 lines through it. Now we're not gonna add the 3 lines through here, but what I would like to do is we're gonna make a buck. And I'm gonna try and curve these corners of this tailgate, with just some sheet metal. I'm just gonna bend up some sheet metal, and we'll put it in a buck. and we'll hammer the curve into it, and then we'll get them cut and fit to put in there. And I'd like to try and make it match. What I'm actually going to do is that back wall that we made in the bead roller. I'm actually gonna cut the buck out to match that, so it's the exact same curve that is on the back wall. And we're gonna hammer out 4 of them, and we'll put them in each corner. We'll get those welded in and cleaned up, and then it should look, it'll look similar. It's not gonna be the same because it's not gonna have the 3 lines in it, but it'll look similar. Like, when you look out the tailgate, when you look at the tailgate and you look over the tailgate at the back wall, they match. So I don't know. To me, that's just, it's the little things that make the big difference. When I had the wall in there, and I was looking at it, everything's got nice round corners. It's nice and clean looking. It looks sharp. And then you look at the back of the tailgate and everything's square and choppy and bulky look. It just doesn't, to me, that don't work. It just kind of clashes. So I think that's what we're going to work on this weekend. Getting this whole tailgate done with, figuring out these pin latches, figuring out these cables, cleaning up the corners, like I just said, making the buck and making some press pieces to clean up those corners and stuff. This was my next step in the process, was this tailgate. We got that back wall done. We got the floor made. Both sides are done. Completely done. I'm ready to strip the last of the paint off, get everything sandblasted, sand everything down with some 80 grit and start body work. The last thing that I have here is this tailgate. That's the last little bit of metal work that we got to do. So I'm hoping over the next week, we can get this tailgate knocked out, and then we can start getting this thing ready for body work. So we're going to get it body worked and primed. I will probably get it. We'll get it in primer. I always prime everything twice, so we'll get it in primer. We'll let it sit a week or 2. Then we'll block everything out. We'll guide coat it. We'll block everything out. Make sure we didn't miss nothing. Everything looks straight. And then I will get the second coat of primer on it. Not second coat, but second round. I usually put 3 or 4 coats on each round, depending on how everything looks. Body work wise, if everything came out nice and straight, we don't have any heavy scratches. I got everything out into 220 real nice. I'll put 3 coats on then, no problem. Guide coat it, block it out. We'll put another 3 coats on it, and then it's ready for paint at that point. But we're gonna move the bed over back to my buddy's house, and we're gonna bring the cat back over here. Now that's probably gonna be, I would say, hopefully at the most, a couple months. I'm hoping to have the cab back over here by New Year, and be working on the cab. And if you guys remember where we left off on the cab, I got a little bit of welding to do on the driver's side fender still. The majority of it's done. I got to put that lip that goes around the frame, I got to put that back in. I got to weld some stuff on the inside, and then we're on to the passenger side, and we got to do everything to the passenger side: rocker, cab corner. We got to fit the new doors. We got to make sure that other passenger side fender fits properly. Make any adjustments if we need to. Hopefully nowhere near what we did to the driver's side. But yeah, so once we get the cab back over here, it's kind of like we're on the home stretch there. I really don't think, I don't think that there's a lot left once we get the cab over here. I mean, there is with the rocker and the cab corner and whatnot, but you know, like looking at the metal, my buddy that owns the Jeep was over here a couple days ago, and we were looking at like how much metal we were left off with. And you know, a few weeks ago I was telling him we were going to need another full sheet of metal. You know, now that we got the bed done and I'm looking at what's left on the cab, you know, I think we have enough left here to finish the truck with the metal that we have. I don't think we're going to have to get more. So, you know, if I'm at that point where I'm canceling orders of metal that I had set up, you know, that's a good thing. That means we're getting close. So yeah, but I think that's it. I'm gonna call it a night, and I think tomorrow we'll come out here, and we'll kick the heat on because it's gonna be cold, and we'll start stripping this tailgate. So I will see you guys tomorrow, maybe. I don't know if I'm gonna make you guys watch strip this tailgate or not. Maybe so. We'll see. If not, I'll see you in the next video. I'm out. Remember, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, please. It helps our channel a lot. So I appreciate all the subscribers we have and the views that we get. Everything's growing really good. It's going really well. We're happy with it. Let's interact some. Give me some comments, good or bad. So thanks. I'm out.